probably the youth sports one would probably be
Okay.
the easiest today.
Okay. Let's start there.
You know, almost 20 years ago, my wife and I developed our Gary Varsho Baseball League. And with the intention of our children who came with me to spring training in Clearwater, Florida, as I was coaching in the minor leagues for the Phillies, they were involved in their Little League program. And we had a wonderful time. Obviously, getting out of the Midwest and Wisconsin when February and March is ideal. So going down there, our kids had a chance to play, and we met some wonderful people. And they accepted our children, and they had just a wonderful time. Socially, they grew as individuals because they had to make new teammates, a new surrounding. It was just absolutely fabulous. And obviously, once I left for the season, which is the beginning of April, then they would return back to Wisconsin and obviously come back to the Midwest where it's a little muddy and a little snowy maybe yet. And so there was this lapse of time from April through June until my children were out of school, and then they would come and join me wherever I was at. And most times it was in Reading, Pennsylvania as a AA manager. So we did this one year, and all of a sudden the second year went by, and my kids asked me and my wife, Kay, about possibly, can we do something in the spring? Can we play baseball in the spring? These are all elementary kids. And I said, well, I guess we could try to do something. So my wife and I, we funded, we tried to ask people if they were interested. We created a sponsor, we created a league, and we ended up having 8 teams, 2 9 and 10-year-old teams, 4 9 and 10, 4 9 and 10, and 4 11 and 12. And people in the community loved it. It was something different. It was an idle time of the year where there was really nothing to do other than because it was such an idle time of a block of time because elementary kids never had a chance to play spring sports. It was always in the summertime. And so what I just tried to create was an environment where I grew up. Because when I grew up here in the same small town of Marshfield, Wisconsin, we didn't have spring baseball when we were little, but we also had summer baseball. So I just try to recreate this great league that we had when I was growing up in this community and just trying to reinvent it, because what ended up happening in the summertime here in Marshall it wasn't the same quality of program that I encountered. Well, obviously, as time wore on, more people became interested, and 8 teams exploded into 24 teams, and people really enjoyed that block of time. And it was about assembling the teams was really about, okay, we want to make sure that the schools, the elementaries of Washington and Lincoln and Jefferson and all the schools, they had a chance to stay together because recess is a very important part of a young person's sort of day-by-day education at school. Because if Johnny and Jimmy are on 2 different teams at recess, it'd be nicer if they were on the same teams at the same grade level because, hey, we're kind of buddies and that's your buddies going through. And so we really try to make this work. And obviously, we didn't give out any ribbons. We didn't give out any trophies. It was all about a community, a really small community getting together and going out there and really enjoying a way to have a team-orientated but really a fundamentally based baseball program from an educational standpoint. We didn't have standings. We didn't have batting averages. We just tried to really learn. So the process kept developing where we tried to become better teachers. I took my expertise, what I could teach to our coaches, I learned a lot more from a great infield instructor, Perry Hill, and Perry taught me a lot more infield, just sharing knowledge along the way. And hopefully we get our numbers would grow to the point where eventually kids decide whether or not baseball is for them, or if it's a girl. We've had females in this. Both of my girls played in this league, and they just love playing with the boys. So there are some females that coexist with our program. So as time went on and things became really great, all my kids were basically flushed out of the system. They were all older, but we maintained this league because the interest was so high. And we had developed a really good relationship with a lot of sponsors in town, and they really enjoyed this. And again, we only had a spring season. Summer was basically designed for whoever wanted to play tournament ball, soccer, hockey. You can go on your own, but this was just our kind of like our space of time.
April to June.
April to June, right. When school was out, our season was over. So as time went on, parents seemed to change.
Mm.
They wanted more. They wanted more of a team and B team. The better players are segregated in playing, and the lesser players are segregated to B team. And they came to me with this proposal, and I said, well, isn't it interesting? Now, at a very young age level, and this is a small entity, but it's nationwide,
Yeah.
that we are going to decide already when they're 8, 9, 10 years old, that we are going to decipher between who's best and who's secondary. Because realistically, in our society, it's okay to play with everyone, no matter what the skill level. Because part of our responsibility as parents and youth coaches, number one, is to make sure that we are all good teammates, no matter what age level. And it's okay if we have a young boy or girl, if they end up striking out. We want that best player to be up there saying, it's okay, you'll get them next time, and vice versa. It's okay for the best player to sit out, which they have to do in our league. They have to sit out an inning. You need to watch and cheer on your other teammates. So we have a lot of different things that we try to make sure that teammates matter. Alan Williams, who is an author, writes this book, Teammates Matter. And I know I'm getting off on a
No, go ahead.
Getting off, but he writes, it's about his college experiences and Chris Paul, and it's a wonderful book. But what I took out of this book was he has also written some other articles, and it talks about the dinner table and what really goes on at the dinner table. So what my point is that, and I know I'm rambling a little bit, but realistically, having all these A teams and A teams and A teams, we never allow these other kids to try to catch up in their age. I mean, so if we constantly take the strongest, the best players at their, January, February, March, April, those birthdays compared to October, December, of course those kids are going to be behind, but they're in the same age level. So if we continue to let them play, let them develop, and let's see, because kids' interests can vary all the time. All right, so I'm trying to get to my point. I'm trying to make sure I get this well-rounded. So anyway, the worst experience I had here was all of a sudden our varsity coach, who was a head baseball coach, decided that he was going to have his 8-year-old team and he was going to make cuts. And I said to his face, I said, you can't allow that. How are we so smart that we don't know that an 8-year-old 5 years from now is going to develop? You're already cutting kids that we need in our program. We need volumes of kids, but yet the point is this: we need moms and dads that go and support all the kids. I get the A team, I get the better skilled players, but eventually they'll come to the top. And we don't know about that little boy that could really use the help from another teammate that might end up being a nice little, has a great journey through his middle school years, through his high school years, and we gave him an opportunity to be part of something. We're not chasing the college scholarship. We're not chasing the major league dream. We are talking about little people, little youth who should be having fun. This is about fun. It's okay to have good games, poor games. The other part of this whole thing is that what our league does, and what I would hope our society would understand, is the amount of value a parent can share with their child, because they allow them to play, and whether good or bad, when Johnny strikes out 2 or 3 times in a game, and it's a tough game for him individually, and he's sad, and how he behaves is a tremendous value, tremendous asset you have as a parent. I'm evaluating my son, not on the physicality. I'm evaluating my son, how he behaves. Am I bringing up this child correctly? And boy, let me tell you, if your little trooper can come home and say, you know what, he's sad and he might cry, but you know what, chin up, let's you and I work it out together, because the value of you as a dad or mom to take time with your child, helping him grow mentally, socially, even physically at times, that mental social aspect, let him grow and develop, overcoming adversity. And then when little Johnny gets a hit next game or puts the ball in play and gets on first base, the world's great. And you know what? He had some success. People today are, go ahead, sorry.
So part of what you're saying is that part of what sports teaches is that it's how you deal with failure, how you deal with success in a way, and also how to deal with motivation, your own motivation.
How to deal, the biggest thing about youth sports that I believe that we're missing is how to be a good teammate.
Oh.
How to be a good teammate. And I go back to Alan Williams, teammates matter. That comes from the highest skilled to the lowest skilled. We are teammates. How we treat each other on a skill level basis is so important, because if I'm the best athlete and you're not very good, do I help you become better? Isn't that part of my job? And I say this because raising 2 daughters, and as they went through this a basketball situation, they would come home and say, oh, this girl here, this girl here, this girl here. I said, you know what your job is to do? Your job is to make those girls raise their game up. You should be working with them, not the coach. It's not their fault. You're very blessed. My children were very blessed, and we're very grateful. But your job is to raise them up if you're going to be a good teammate. Has nothing to do with winning. It's about being a quality person and understanding, okay, this person might be a little short in this so-called trait, this athletic trait, but so what? My job is to help them raise themselves up, being confident in their ability, being confident in them as a person, and they can walk away feeling very proud. And it makes the team concept so much valuable. So it's being a good teammate today. We forget about being a good teammate. All we want to do today is with this, it's not baseball, it's athletic in general. We have 8 teams. We have fathers, mothers, families spending college tuition. I just read a tweet yesterday. 58% of people spend $5,000 or less on last year's baseball player probably at a middle school, high school level to go travel. 38%, something like that, spent over $5,000, anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. Well, I might be old-fashioned and I might be out of the loop, but all I know is this. If I'm a mom and dad and I do not know how to teach my child to hit, I do not know much about baseball. It could be basketball, it could be soccer, it could be the piano. It's my responsibility not to send them off to someone who is going to teach them. It's my job to be with them, to educate them, to listen, and my job is to spend time with them so at least the dialogue continues. I take a genuine interest in my child's ability and what they really love to do. And therefore, I'm going to try to carry this as long as I can, because as you and I both talked, the ultimate goal in all of this is at the end of the day, when they walk through the high school doors or they go through college and they end up playing, we're hoping that they pick up the phone each and every day and they call you. That's the ultimate goal. It's not about scholarships. It's not about chasing the dream. It's about that. The other things come into play. So for me, youth sports and how we go about it, it's a 17 youth sports, and if I got this stat right, a $17 billion industry in 2017.
For baseball or for all sports?
All sports. You better answer that.
I'll let it go. It'll go into answering.
Okay. So $17 billion worth of sports, sport industry.
Is that professional sports or all professional and?
All youth sports, 17 billion. And I just read that this morning, and that's based on this article I saw. And it's as big as the NFL. That's equal to the NFL, their industry. Anyway, so we're spending all this money on equipment and travel, and it's unbelievable how much money we're spending. But I guess the ultimate goal for me is, what are we spending it? Why are we spending so much money? It's okay. I have to buy a bat, skates, whatever it is. I get all that. But what's the goal? Isn't the goal is to have the dialogue and have the time to spend with your child, as opposed to I'm running into a game, I'll sit there and the coach is going to handle them for the rest of the time. And then after it's done, I don't really have an understanding of what really is going on or how my child is getting better. And again, we're chasing this scholarship, we're chasing this dream. Or here's another thing that is bothersome too as well. So what we do is we have all these select teams, soccer, whatever, hockey, which you're familiar with.
Yeah.
But we're also selecting other community people. Some of these things are so big, we're selecting all these best players from our surrounding area to go participate. So, and I just read this again, and it just makes so much sense. We're sucking the best talent out of all these communities. So where does it leave the other kids? Where does that leave this other community? Does it dry up? I have no interest. I don't care to play anymore. I guess I'm not one of the best ones. And I get so upset when our current parent structure are so blinded to the fact that relationships, friendships, if we're good enough, somebody will notice us. It's with social media, with everything else around here, how can you not get noticed today if you have a skill set in anything? We don't need to travel ultimate and spend all this money. The best gift you can give your child is to sit there and talk to them about, okay, let's go work on this. It can be shooting hoops in the backyard. It can go ahead and throwing balls off your garage door, whatever it is. But you're there with them, spending time and teaching, and you're teaching them a little bit, but at the same time, it's relationships, because I want a relationship with my children after it's all said and done. And that's the goal that nobody talks about. And that's my passion. My passion is talk to your children. There's a place and a time to be competitive. There is a place and time. There is a place and time to go show your skills somewhere. But please, it's not before you're 14, 15 years old. I mean, I just don't understand why we need to do that, because it's okay if you want to take Johnny to a game and he wants to go on this travel team at the right time. That's fine. There is a place for that in our society, but not when they're in elementary school, please. No, and that's what really hurts me, because we try to be very selective in our society, and we're doing the wrong thing. We're not doing kids a very good justice of giving them opportunities to find out about themselves. And that's what really sports and athletics does for a family. But a child, find out about yourself.
You know, if you check out, you're not going to come back, because, right?
Yep. It's extremely challenging, especially today. I mean, we're making decisions so early. Why is it? We, like in our league, we don't have the scoreboard on. I mean, a lot of times we just don't have the scoreboard on because it's healthier. God, Lois, I just read this fantastic article, and I just happened to catch it on Twitter this morning, and it just hit everything. The city of Norway, or the country of Norway, has got it figured out with their youth sports. They decided, I think their youth hockey, they decided no longer to have a championship.
Oh, really?
Pardon?
Really? Why?
In hockey, they no longer decided to have championships at youth level, because what ends up happening is that, just like we talked about, they start going after all the best players in areas and sucking up the best players, where the other secondary players are left hanging. And we don't have a league here. We don't get the chance to play because our best players are gone. And again, it's okay to play with everyone. That's why when we have our small schools, our own elementary, they have the parents like it, and the parents like each other, and we all try to get along. And at the end of the day, realistically, Lois, in our league, after the game is done, everybody's up to the concession stand and getting a hot dog and Coke anyway, or laughing about it because it's over. It's not so competitive where we lose the focus of what's really important. I had this one little boy, I'll never forget it. I have this one little boy, and I was umpiring a game, and he was 11 years old. And this batter stepped up to the plate, and I was right behind the pitcher. And he turned around to all the fielders. He goes, "Back up, guys. This guy can really hit." I thought, okay. So this little boy goes into his windup, and he delivers the pitch. And the kid hits a missile out to the fence. And the outfielders are chasing after it, and they throw it back to him, and they throw it back to the pitcher. And the pitcher gets the ball, and he goes, "See, I told you, he can really hit." What a wonderful, wonderful outlook about life, about being a little boy. You know, it just touches my heart, because he was in it for the right reason. He wanted to be on the mound, he wanted to pitch, and he knew this little boy was really good, and he wasn't mad. He was going, okay, I'm going to try to get this guy out. What a wonderful scenario. I was so happy I was there, because a lot of times I don't get a chance to be there all the time, but it was just a wonderful way of going about it. And that's what youth sports is all about. Watching little boys and little girls just develop themselves and learning how to handle many situations, many life situations, good, bad, adversity. And I know I'm rambling here, but I probably will get emotional on this one. But when my little boy was a freshman,
in high school?
In high school,
Uh-huh.
it's Dalton. He made an out, and he threw his helmet, flipped his helmet. He never flipped his helmet before. So I'm back in the stands and I watch it. We get done with the game and then we get in the car. And it's the ride. And another thing, Lois, that ride home, when kids are not able to drive yet, that ride home is a very important time. It's really good. You can watch all the behavior you want out of your child. Your emotions come out. So I asked him, I said, why did you throw your helmet? I don't understand that. He goes, well, the other guy did it. He was a junior and a really good player. And I said, I said, so whatever he does is good enough. I said, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you throw your helmet again, it disgusts me. I said, it tells me everything you want about, I don't want you. I know if I'm a college guy and I'm looking at you, or if you keep your emotions under control. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be upset. You really need to keep your emotions under control. So he listened. He's always been a really good listener. So the next game comes out. There he is right there. So the next game comes up, and he ended up, there were 2 outs, runner on bases, and he grounded out to the second baseman. Last out. And he hustled down the line, and he was out, and he turned around, and the game was over. So get done with the game, get in the car, come on home. So as we're leaving our little town of Marshfield, I tell him, I said, I'm really proud of you. No, nothing. I said, do you know why? He goes, yeah. I made the last out. I was really mad, and I didn't throw my helmet, and I kept myself under control. And I told him, you got it. You got it, buddy. You get it. You get the big picture because you're going to get another chance. It's okay. He gets it. And to this day, he's so emotionally stable, good and bad. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. And again, it's okay to be upset. Just if you want to be upset in the car, let me have it. But when it comes to when you're in a public arena, it's okay. You need to handle yourself correctly. And you will when things come up in life, you'll handle it better. So those are all experiences as a parent that I've gone through with him and my girls and our league. It's been challenging to try to, I want to really quit this league 3 or 4 years ago because I was so tired of the youth parents trying to manipulate the way that they wanted the league to run as opposed to understanding a bigger picture of, hey, watch your little boy, watch your little girl, enjoy them, enjoy all of them, no matter who you're playing, because this is our community. Watch them all and encourage them all. And then hopefully your child, the behavior of your child is something you can be very proud of because you get exposed. And when you're on a field, you're on a court, you're playing tennis, doesn't matter. You're exposed. If they can handle themselves through tough times, if you're a parent, applaud yourself on the back because you've done a great job. But that message gets lost.
And it sure does, doesn't it?
Yes, very much so.
You know what? We could do a whole book just on tips for parents, tips for youth sports, tips for, there's a lot here.
I know.
A lot here. And a tremendous amount. So I'm going to mush on that because I think we lay the groundwork, don't we, early on for what happens to the people that go into the workplace or into professional sports. And then we expect something different out of them.
That is correct. And, 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 that is my middle daughter, she was, I mean, I think what ends up happening when you really do things well, when you get your kids, and if they want to be involved in youth sports, and if you really understand the bigger picture, my little boy can't throw the ball like Johnny can, and that's okay. But you are going to play catch with him, and you're going to teach him, and he gets out there and he does some things, and he feels good about himself, and he's confident, and with adversity in between a little bit, but the relationship you build and understanding where you're at, whatever skill level. Gosh darn it, you know what? You're always going to have dialogue with your child. He will always come to you saying, I'm having trouble in school. Hey, Dad, can you help me? I mean, it's just not about athletics. It's about the whole gamut of their whole day. It can be about a relationship with a boy or girl. It can be their schoolwork. Hey, things like this. Hey, I lost my phone. How am I handling it? What's my responsibility? But the constant dialogue, and I think that's where I really want to have. But if you do those things right, at the end of the day, when they go off to, let's say, college or whatever, they go into the workforce and they're a blue collar worker, you've teaching them values that they will be okay. They understand organization. They understand about structure. They understand about commitment and a work ethic. And I have to be on time and all those things that come into play. And even if they go to college, I know the college scene and all the things that they can get involved with. But if you really know that your core value things are really set in stone at home, with a communication being the number one priority, they're going to be calling you. They're not just going to shut you off for weeks and go, I don't even know how he's doing or she's doing. My daughter's going through the same thing. She's now the new varsity coach here. We have 1,200 kids in our school. 1,200. 27 kids went off for basketball at the high school level. The reason why is because we have already decided when they have been third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders, sixth graders, here's the A team. So I'm a B teamer. Well, I'm not even picked for the team. We try out.
Right.
Lois, we try out as fourth and fifth graders, sixth graders. What are we doing? Tryouts.
Yeah, I know.
You know it. Hockey. You live it. We try out. So whatever happened to, you know what? And again, I know it's never going to happen. It's never going to go back. But what happens about going, you know what? How about getting a bunch of kids together and go play hockey? Go do this. Go skate. Do it. Just go play. You can't even go to a playground anymore without getting a permit to go and
play.
Play. Everything's locked.
Somebody has the space.
Yes. I mean, it's just our own society has created this dilemma, but we can still get around this by at least saying, you know what, I choose not to do this. I choose to do something different. I choose as a parent to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to be involved in this program and I'm going to have my kids just participate because we're not after a college scholarship. And honestly, Lois, do I really want to run around the country and chase and he's going here and he's going there and chase around the country where I could really, I mean, for God's sakes, you're in Minnesota. There's got to be tons of hockey all around you.
Oh, yes.
I mean, so is there any place where we can just go play and just have
No, because you have to get rink time.
Right.
You cannot. You have to get rink time.
Yeah.
And 8 and 9-year-olds are playing hockey at 10 p.m. when they should be in bed.
No question. Same as goes on here. What are we thinking? What are we doing? Because everybody else gets the priority. We got to have that varsity. You got to have the older kids, and they got to do it. No question. We're so messed up. We're so messed up. And if it is 10 o'clock, you know what? I know my little boy wants to do that, but is there a different program where I can just get him on the ice? And I go back to Rich Donnelly. So, I mean, again, I was privileged that Dalton traveled, all my kids traveled with me, but at times, but Dalton was like 9 or 10, and he came with me and traveled with me on a couple of trips. And we'd be out at the ballpark, and I would hit him pop-ups, and he would hit in the cage. And I asked Rich, because Rich is a father of, God, I don't even know how many kids. I said, Rich, you think I'm doing the right thing? He goes, he's with you, isn't he? I said, yeah. He goes, you're doing the right thing. He's with you. And he when he said that to me, it's like, you're right. He's with me. Him and I together is more valuable than him playing on a tournament team. And it was just absolutely right on. And why would I want to occupy all my summer? And even when he did go play a couple tournaments, we didn't occupy our whole summer.